Today we're going to take a tour of a tool called WorldBook Kids. This is located from the district's main webpage, westdata.org, under Academics and Library Resources. Once you land there, you can scroll down to elementary K through 5 sites, and the one we're going to look at today is at the bottom of the page called WorldBook Kids. If you launch any of our database resources and it's asking for a username and password, you can ask your teacher or librarian for assistance. This is really a neat tool. So when you first land, there's this whole big picture and it says read about the topic. Okay, so these arrows, if you select either one going in either direction, it's kind of a carousel of different things that you could just take off and learn from, learn about. Okay, Sacagawea. And then if you saw one, you wanted to go back, you could certainly go back. Okay, really cool that you can just take off from there. Learn about gravity, balloons, bridges. So that's one way you can use this tool. There are some neat tools down here. And this is one of my favorites, the world of animals. So if you click on that, you can compare all kinds of different animals just by the touch of a button. Now, if you wanted to, you could certainly, all of these are links and you could just jump right into there. So if you're really interested in water mammals, you can just jump and go. But let's compare some animals. Let's compare an alligator with an ant. Can you think of anything that they might have in common? And how would they be different? So when you select compare now, you'll get this graph that you can scroll up and down on, and it just tells you the differences and the similarities. So on the left-hand side, we have the American alligator, and we have the army ant on the right. So these red bars will tell you that there are extreme differences. So in their weight, the alligator can weigh 550 pounds. An ant can weigh less than 1 ounce. Big difference in their length. An ant is only half an inch long. An alligator can be up to 12 feet. Pretty big difference with their number of newborn. When they have babies, the ant can have thousands, and the alligator will have between 20 and 60. Alligators can live between 50 and 60 years, whereas an ant, big difference here, an ant will only live a few months, though queen ants live longer. Here's something they have in common. They're both carnivores. So as we continue this tour, we'll look up the word carnivore and see exactly what that means. That's their diet type, what they eat. Fun facts. An alligator mother may help her young reach the water by carrying them in her mouth. And army ants march through the rainforest in swarms of up to 2 million ants, capturing and eating any other insects in their path. All kinds of details about this. This is kind of interesting. Type of newborn. An alligator, when they give birth, they are laying eggs. And the same is true with ants. But I'm sure they're not the same size. Okay, so if you wanted to compare some other animals, you can go right here, make a new selection, or you could go right to the alligator exhibit. It would be a special thing that WorldBook for Kids has on that. And here's the ant exhibit. So if you wanted to do a research project, you could dig in deeper right here on those pieces. Okay, so that's really great launch pad for doing some research and comparing and contrasting different creatures. Let's hit the WorldBook Kids logo and jump back to the main page. We were just talking about similarities between an alligator and an ant, and it said that they were both carnivores. So as I start typing in that search term, it's going to begin guessing what it is that it thinks I mean. Carnivore. When you select that, it will take you out to this encyclopedia article about carnivores. Okay, and if you're doing a big report, you could certainly cite this source so that people know where you got your information from and you weren't just out making things up. If you select this speaker here, a machine voice will begin reading, and you can see, I'll just play it in a second here, but you can see how it just reads, and then this is trying to help you pronounce this word, but the machine will just keep on reading and it'll read that twice. But as I'm skimming this real fast, I can see that a carnivore is an animal that eats mostly meat. A carnivore is an animal that eats mostly meat. So let's see what the computer voice sounds like.
A carnivore is an animal that eats mostly meat. The animals carnivores eat are called prey. A carnivore is an animal that eats most.
So that auto reading feature to me is not as well polished as a lot of the other tools, but it's still a really neat resource for you. Okay, so now we know that carnivores eat mostly meat, and an ant and an alligator are carnivores. So let's switch gears now. We're going to go back to the WorldBook Kids, and we're going to scroll down to compare places. When we first land here, if you wanted to compare everything, all continents, Australian states, countries, everything, you could certainly hit this one, and it would be just like what we did with the animals. But I'm interested in comparing a couple of the US states. So I'm going to select this over here. And I'm only looking at US states. Now, I spent a lot of my childhood and I grew up in Florida. So I'd love to compare Florida with Idaho. So I can see right out of the gate that Florida has some pretty big buildings. I mean, there are parts of Florida with big cities. And then Idaho looks like there's quite a bit of terrain here with mountains, and they definitely have snow in the winter, and it doesn't look quite as populated. So the population in Idaho is at 1,567,582 people, and Florida has 18,801,310 people. So it's a lot more crowded in Florida. So let's go ahead and compare now, and then we can take a look and see. So the state capital is Tallahassee and Boise. We're comparing Florida and Idaho. Now, in the animals we were looking at, when the bars were extremely different, it meant that there was an extreme difference. This one here, it looks like the area of the state, Florida is 58,000, almost 59,000 square miles, and Idaho is 83,000. So Florida is a little bit smaller than Idaho, but boy, there sure are a lot more people that live there. Look at this. This is a big bar here, 18 million, and then only 1.5 million. So Idaho is bigger and fewer people live there. Okay, here's an interesting fact. Established in 1565, the Florida city of St. Augustine is the oldest permanent European settlement in the United States. And Idaho is known as the gem state because it produces numerous types of precious and semi-precious stones. So you could, if you visited Florida, you could visit a city called St. Augustine and visit this settlement that's still there, thriving to this day. And in Idaho, you might go and dig and go to some mines, and you might find a lot of semi-precious stones. In Florida, I remember growing up, I grew up in South Florida, and we rarely, I mean, once every 15 years, we would see snow in South Florida. Most of Florida has a warm, humid climate. Florida's southern tip has a tropical, wet, and dry climate. Whereas most of Idaho is relatively mild. Winds from the Pacific Ocean bring warm sea air to the state. The mountains east of Idaho protect it from cold blasts from Canada and the Great Plains during winter. But as you know, we see snow here. We didn't have snow in South Florida. Florida's state motto is "In God We Trust," and Idaho's state motto is "Esto Perpetua," which means "Let it be perpetual." for the state of Idaho. Florida is known as the Sunshine State, and Idaho is known as the Gem State. Okay, lots going on here. This is kind of interesting. I wanted to share this with you. So in Florida, their bird, the state bird is a mockingbird, and in Idaho, the state bird is a mountain bluebird. Okay, so mountain bluebird. There's an article about a mountain bluebird. Selecting that hyperlink, this is what I wanted to share with you. A lot of birds will have an audio recording of what the bird sounds like. Have you ever heard this? Hmm. So I noticed that the mountain bluebird that we clicked on brought us to this eastern bluebird. So if you were doing a report on this, you might want to dig a little bit deeper and make sure that the audio recording for the mountain bluebird is truly the same as an eastern bluebird. This is a good example of why it's important to, when you're doing research, find results from multiple sources. Don't just go to one place and get all of your information. So as we wrap things up here, I wanted to share a couple of final things on this particular database for this week. I think we'll spend some more time here in another session because there's just so much in the WorldBook Kids. But from this same article, if you scroll down, you can see this article in Spanish. If you wanted to, you could jump to WorldBook Student, and that is really meant for upper grades. They might go a little more in depth on these articles. So WorldBook Kids is probably kindergarten through maybe fifth grade, and WorldBook Student maybe takes off from like third grade up through maybe eighth grade. That's the target audience, but this is all good stuff. It doesn't really matter what grade you're in. It's still really good stuff. So you could just click on that and jump to a whole different database. Let's jump back out to WorldBook Kids. Couple of last thoughts. Today we visited World of Animals. We visited Compare Places. We looked at searching for a search term in here. We found this carousel is really useful for just jumping out. If you wanted to learn about auto racing, this would be your screen. Let's look at maps and more. So if we took a look at interactive maps, what this does is takes you out and lets you explore an actual map, and then as things start to pop up, you can click on them and see articles about them. So here we are in Idaho, and I see that there's an article specifically about Idaho. So if you wanted to, you could just come right over here and say, go to the Idaho article, or you could click on that and then say, go to Idaho article. And it jumps out and shows you all about, it's like an encyclopedia entry about Idaho. So you can see where it's located in the United States. Earlier we were talking about Florida, and it's way down here, close to the equator. And then you can see where Boise is compared to our state. There's our old friend, the state bird, the mountain bluebird. You can see our flag and our seal. Read a whole bunch of stuff on this. Okay, so the map feature is pretty cool. I'm going to click on the home again. And we just jumped to maps and more. Now, if you want to explore, you can always hit games. Pretty cool. There's so much here. You can explore this. You can do puzzles, multiple choice, matching, all kinds of things. Let's try a sorting one before we leave. Let's try a busy bee puzzle. I'm ready to play. And then you can explore. I see. So you try to put this puzzle together as quickly as you can. That looks like that. Nope. Yeah, that might be kind of fun. Some of you puzzle lovers out there, you can do this and not make a huge mess. And if somebody bumps the table, you're not going to spill your pieces everywhere. So that's pretty cool. Let's do countries and continents. North America, Asia, and Europe. Where are these? and you could literally just drag these and drop them into the basket. Yeah. Okay, so have some fun with these games in there. Again, WorldBook Kids, games, and you can just explore in here quite a bit. All right, have fun. Talk to you next time.